What should have been a celebration of life instead became the most chaotic circus reality show on television. Imagine a room full of cameras, balloons, confetti, cake, and champagne. Only to have everything destroyed when Yandy barged in like she was trying out for the upcoming WWE season. Yes, you heard correctly. Neither pink nor blue characterized Tamar Braxton's large gender reveal celebration. It was known for its yelling, shade-throwing, and an enormous crash that caused Twitter to collapse. Here's the question, though. Yandy was there. But why? Was this a real instance of a lady being scorned? Or was this a planned ambush to steal the limelight from Tamar's special day? Due to the second Yandy's sudden appearance, the entire incident proceeded from baby joy to battlefield, with her pointing fingers, flailing her hands, and demanding answers for two families. Furthermore, let's not act as though this was a little private supper. Oh no, this was a high-end production that was purportedly sponsored, broadcast on television, and attended by many who now regret not accepting the invitation. This gender reveal is already being called the messiest party of the decade because of the balloons popping at the wrong moment, and Tamar's expression changing from glam to glum. So hold on tight, for this was more than just small-time drama. It was a complete and utter scandal. Glitter, champagne, bubbles, and expertly chosen Instagram filters filled the air. For what was meant to be the ultimate gender reveal occasion, Tamar Braxton had gone all out. A cake that most likely cost more than some people's annual rent, a mansion dripping with gold embellishments, and walls covered with flowers so large you could lose yourself in them. Visitors showed up looking their best. Before they even stepped onto the red carpet, influencers were already live broadcasting. It also felt more like the Grammys than a baby shower because of the flashes of paparazzi. It wasn't just any reveal, though. It was Tamar's opportunity to shine. This party was her attempt to change the course of events following weeks of salacious rumors about her purported affair with Mendy C's, which included late-night automobile sightings, mysterious text messages, and trending hashtags. Tamar was physically moving into the spotlight rather than hiding. Like the star of her own reality show, she is radiant in a beautiful gown while holding her baby belly, and it appeared to be working for a time. When she walked in, the audience cheered. She grinned as the cameras panned in. The whole atmosphere cried out, "I control the narrative now." Of course, this was reality TV control. And it lasted for 5 minutes, because Yandy Smith suddenly stormed in through the doors. No RSVP, no subdued entry, no courteous smiles, just anger, rage, and a presence that stopped the audience in its tracks. The music would have stopped if this had been a movie. The guests gripped their glasses of champagne more tightly. Someone gasped aloud. Some even took out their phones before the security guards could respond. And in that moment, the largest confrontation of the year took place at Tamar's glitzy party. Yandy's initial remarks, a roar. Thus, this is the major event. Tamar, really? There was an electric tension. As the cameras turned toward the unexpected visitor, the mother-to-be froze, her smile wavering. Tamar, obviously striving to maintain her composure, murmured something beneath her breath. Yandy, however, would have none of it. With her voice and finger pointing, she rushed closer, cracking with both rage and grief. "You act like it's a fairy tale as you parade around here," Yandy yelled. "When do you know what you did? You stole my family, Tamar, and now you're flaunting it with balloons and confetti." The audience was shaken. The room was filled with whispered gasps, and every second was recorded by phones. Tamar didn't back down in typical diva fashion. She responded with a phrase that had the internet playing back video for days, flipping her hair and lifting her chin. "Don't be mad at me, Yandy. Be mad at your man for wanting me." Bang! Explosion. Peace is over. A dot. What was meant to be a celebration suddenly devolved into an unscripted live soap opera. When Tamar clapped back, Yandy went into overdrive. In front of everyone, she lurched forward, almost ready to rip Tamar's wig off. It was necessary for security to intervene and put up a physical barrier between the two women. However, the harm had already been done. Pink and blue were no longer the focus of the party. It was about anger, treachery, and the kind of drama you only dream about on reality TV. The guests, however, were caught between fascination and horror. The other half of the room wished to hide beneath the opulent buffet table. But to ensure they had the ideal photo for TikTok, the other half tilted their phones. Let's not forget the online reactions. One influencer murmured, "If they start throwing cake, I'm going live." Another said, "This is better than any season finale." Hashtags became popular in a matter of minutes. The hammer revelation was smashed by Yandy. Yandy notices that I was on fire. TikTok and Instagram stories spread like wildfire. As if it were the final meal, TikTok devoured this. Photoshopping pink and blue balloons with labels like plot twist. Memes appeared fast. Yandy notices Yandy's tears and the infant. However, back in the mansion, the mayhem went on. In an attempt to soothe her, Tamar's sisters whispered in her ear to ignore Yandy and concentrate on the revelation. Tamar, however, had no intention of playing the victim. She retaliated sharply with another remark. "Perhaps he wouldn't have come to me if you loved him sufficiently." The audience went crazy. While some cheered and some jeered, others simply stared in stunned surprise. Tamar and Yandy were the fighters in the gladiatorial arena. Mark this point with a dot. Yandy realizes he wasn't even present. Yes, exactly. Conveniently, the individual at the heart of this mayhem was absent, ostensibly on business. Let's face it though, his absence did nothing but fuel the flames. Tamar was accused by Yandy of fabricating the entire incident in order to humiliate her. Yandy was fixated on her and the audience, Tamar retorted. The tea was the only reason they were there. Then came the most outrageous turn of all. A purported audio memo allegedly recorded by Mendez himself was leaked and played loudly on a phone. Midru, "Tamar's carrying my child. Yandy needs to move on," said a man who sounded suspiciously like Mendez in the video. The audience erupted in shouts and gasps, and even some individuals feigned or at least appeared to for dramatic effect. Yandy's face fell apart. As she shouted in real time, her voice breaking, "How dare you!" Tamar grinned as if she had just won an Oscar, and the cameras didn't miss a beat. By this point, security was practically pulling Yandy out of the mansion while she yelled, "This isn't over tomorrow." "Not by a long shot," guests murmured, conjectured, and shared their sexy opinions online, making this moment the most chaotic gender reveal in the history of the entertainment industry. However, as Yandy was being led away, there were rumors that Rashida was en route to support her. That is, another reality queen prepared to enter the fray. Tamar combed her hair, straightened her gown, and whispered to herself, "Let her come." As the whisper swept through the gathering more quickly than the pouring of champagne, "I'm prepared." At that point, the atmosphere changed. The party was no longer just a party. It was a battleground, a showdown, and a reality TV event. And it was so large that even those who didn't know who Yandy or Tomorrow were suddenly had an opinion. By the end of the night, only a truth that everyone had suspected but couldn't believe they were seeing in real life was revealed. And the cake hadn't even been cut or the gender revealed. Officially, Tamar and Yandy were at war, and this war was not going to stay in that mansion. It was going to spill onto every timeline, every blog, and every headline for weeks to come. If you thought this video was crazy, with wigs nearly snatched and a sneering like she was trying out for the role of Queen Villain 2-5, brace yourself, because that was only round one of the chaos. As the dust settled in the mansion, guests tried to breathe again. But you could feel the tension still creeping across the marble floors. Champagne glasses trembled in hands, and makeup artists hid in corners clutching their ring lights. Everyone whispered the same thing. Is it really over? Spoiler alert, it wasn't, because the universe, or perhaps just messy reality TV producers, decided to turn up the drama ante just as Tamar was trying to regain control. Fix her hair, force a smile, and salvage the gender reveal portion of the evening. The front gates opened. The front gates opened. Again, just as the DJ's music was just getting started. But this time it wasn't Yandy. It was Rashida, and not just Rashida, walking in smiling. But she arrived hot. Her heels clicking like a war drum. Her face set as if she were about to give the year's sermon. Trust me, the crowd knew right away that this wasn't going to be a kindly congratulations. Visit tomorrow. Phones rang. Oh, it's going to get biblical. Someone murmured. Another murmured. They're establishing the Avengers of Revenge. Rashida walked straight toward Tamar as if she were walking a runway of vengeance, without even saying hello, grabbing a drink, or pretending to smile. You have no respect, Tamar said, clapping her hands together dramatically. First you embarrassed Yandy. Rashida barked. Now you throw the circus girl, he answered. You have my respect, honey. Since your own marriage has been ruined more than my lace front. Please don't pretend to be some naive angel. However, Rashida wasn't there for banter. She was there for blood door, at least the closest thing reality TV will allow you to get to blood without a lawsuit, Tan. She lunged toward Tamar before security stepped in again, essentially forming a human shield. Despite this, Rashida was able to throw shade with her words, which were sharper than any slap could have been. The room exploded again. Guests screamed. Someone yelled, "Not the lace front." You think you won because you got Mendy's attention? Trust me, girl. The internet is laughing at you, not with you. Live streams of the chaos went viral by this time, and one TikTok post with the caption, "When your gender reveal turns into WWE SmackDown," had already received 2 million views. Instagram and Twitter timelines were overflowing with memes that compared Tamar's mansion to the Hunger Games arena. Yes, influencers were making a lot of money by posting captions that said things like manifesting peace and balloons, rather than drama with carefully manicured selfies in front of Tamar's flower wall. But the situation inside the mansion was getting out of control. Unwilling to be quiet, Tamar snatched the microphone from the DJ booth and yelled, "This is my night, my baby. You can leave if you don't like it." The crowd went crazy, and even the chef in the back peeked out the light. Should I save the food or let them throw it? At this point, people weren't even acting as though they cared about the gender reveal. Rashida laughed a cold, mocking laugh that reverberated off the chandelier. "Your night tomorrow, sweetie? Your nights ended the second you decided it was a good idea to mess with Yandy's man. And guess what? That baby shower cake isn't hiding the fact that you're living off stolen happiness." The true reveal was whether Tamar would survive this tag team attack from Yandy and Rashida. And because this story defies normalcy, someone in the audience yelled, "Play the voicemail again. Blue or pink, who cared?" Do you recall that first part audio clip that was leaked? Rashida froze in the middle of her argument, her eyes narrowing. "So it's true," she demanded, turning to Tamar with a look that could cut glass. The alleged voice note from Mendy's admitting Tamar was carrying his child. Well, apparently someone had it saved and ready to play on blast. Suddenly the room filled with his voice again. "Tamar's carrying my child. Yandy needs to move on." Tamar didn't even bat an eye. She smirked, flipped her hair, and said, "I don't have to explain myself to you. But thank you for confirming who the star of this party really is." The crowd was gagging. But the drama wasn't limited to the mansion. Paparazzi were everywhere, trying to piece together what was going on inside. Helicopter drones hovered over the backyard. TMZ had 3 headlines written, "Waiting for confirmation of a fistfight." And guess what? Leaked footage of Yandy being escorted out earlier had already gone viral. YouTube garnering 500,000 views in less than an hour. Meanwhile, rumors start to circulate among the guests that producers from various networks were already discussing making this whole mess into a spin-off reality series. Imagine Tamar versus Yandy baby mama wars. To be honest, people would watch. However, inside, the temperature continued to rise. And Tamar's family surrounded her, urging her to sit down and relax for the sake of the baby. But Tamar refused. Standing tall in her glittering gown, she challenged Rashida to make the next move. Rashida, realizing she wouldn't win this round physically, changed tactics. "You regret this, Tamar," she muttered. leaning in close and lowering her voice just enough to silence the gathering. Babies don't erase betrayal, and families don't forget. That line, it echoed through the mansion like a curse. Guests gasped, some clutching their pearls, others silently nodding like Rashida had just dropped gospel truth. And then, because Tamar knows how to turn pain into performance, she grabbed the mic again, looked around at the crowd, and shouted, "You all came here for a gender reveal, right? Here's the truth. I don't need Rashida's respect, Yandy's approval, or anybody else's validation. This is my life, my child, and if the crowd erupted in cheers, alcohol, and more iPhone flashes than a red carpet premiere, tomorrow had officially turned her party into a public declaration of war." But here's the kicker. The gender of the baby was still a mystery. With the chaos raging, some guests whispered that perhaps Tamar had planned it that way all along, because what better way to keep the public interested than to leave them hanging? Was it a boy, a girl, or just a smokescreen for the biggest reality scandal of the year? By the end of the night, the mansion looked more like a battlefield than a celebration. With decorations torn down, half-eaten cake and confetti all over the place, like the aftermath of a war zone. The question that everyone was most concerned about was not Tamar's baby, but rather what would happen next. After all, if Rashida had shown up tonight, who else might emerge from the woods tomorrow? And how long before Many finally steps into the chaos to defend or expose the truth? By the time the clock struck midnight, Tamar's gender reveal had already made history, not for announcing a baby, but for igniting a scandal so large it could have its own page on Wikipedia. Fallout started. To be clear, Tamar believed she had won the night because she had the spotlight, the last word, and the mic drop moment. But the story was already being hijacked outside the mansion doors. Rashida uploaded a dubious TikTok with the caption, "Some women throw parties." And Yandy's team posted cryptic Instagram stories about karma always knocking. Real women keep families. It received 1.5 million views in just 1 hour. And in the meantime, hashtags like #GenderReveal, gone. #ToMeAndy, and of course, #PrayerForMemes swept the internet. One of which featured Tamar holding a balloon with the tagline, "It's a boy." After someone supposedly shared a video of the awful gender reveal cake being broken in the pandemonium. Oh, hold on. It's merely another battle. The most outrageous aspect was that the baby's gender was still unknown. Some guests claimed to have seen pink frosting inside the destroyed cake, while others claimed to have seen a glimpse of blue powder in the confetti cannons before being knocked over. Another featured Rashida photoshopped as a WWE wrestler with the text "Coming soon." First, a so-called anonymous guest sold footage to TMZ, claiming it showed Tamar whispering to a friend, "It's a boy, but don't tell them yet." There was no official confirmation. So Tamar remained silent, which only served to fuel the fire. Oh yes, because nothing is private for longer than 5 minutes in 2025. With the title, "Secret Boy Reveal," Tamar holding out on fans, TMZ ran. However, a few hours later, a different blog shared a different video purporting to show Tamar saying, "I'm so happy it's a little girl." In order to maintain its popularity, Q Chaos was Tamar, playing both sides and keeping the people guessing. Yandy Tamar tried to embarrass me tonight, but all she did was reveal her own brokenness. Tens of thousands of comments read, "Stay strong, queen, drag her." We ride at dawn, and of course some trolls added, "But sis, didn't Mendy seize?" However, it didn't stop there. Rashida entered the fray with her own live feed in the morning. Rashida was pure fire and Yandy was tears. "Let me be clear," she said, slamming her coffee mug onto the table. "Tamara is free to play the victim as she pleases. However, the truth is what it is. She is teasing people's relatives. Families also remember the child who is entering a world of deception. And when they grow up, they will see all of this on the internet." The internet instantly crowned her Ani of accountability after Mick dropped moment number 2, but this time from Rashida. Her publicist attempted damage management by issuing a brief, cold statement. Saying last night was a celebration of life. Unfortunately, others tried to dim that light. The streets weren't buying it, though. And screenshots of Tamar allegedly texting Yandy's press because she lost were already making the rounds. Then, in the most shocking turn of all, Mendy finally broke his silence. The man at the center of all this drama had been quieter than a locked iPhone for weeks. But on this particular night, he posted a black and white photo of himself sitting alone, staring at the floor with the caption, "I can't handle the families at once. Please pray for me." 2 families. Did he just cause the internet to crash? The memes were self-explanatory. One featured me holding up a DNA test with the phrase, "Coming soon to VH1." Other memes included Tamar's kid and Yandy's sadness. Another featured Rashida Yandy and Tamar in a boxing ring with Mendy watching as the referee pointed to this point. It wasn't just a scandal. It was a saga. There were rumors that networks were vying for the rights to the official documentary. With Zeus Network and Netflix both reportedly interested, Lifetime even reportedly sent an offer because, let's face it, this was a cultural moment and not just gossip anymore. Meanwhile, insiders claim that Tamar was enraged with Mendy's for taking her thunder. According to one source, Tamar had planned that gender reveal as her night. But after Mendy posted that mysterious message, everyone's thoughts turned to him. Others vowed that she was thinking of severing her relationship with him and concentrating solely on her child. However, another source retorted, saying, please, she loves the drama. She desired precisely this. Not to mention the legal aspect. Attorneys began to circle. Defamation lawsuits were alluded to by Yandy's team. Allegations of harassment were allegedly threatened by Tamar's team. According to rumors, Rashida was already pitching a book title that would reveal everything. Show more deference than rings. The mansion was deserted by now. The pool was filled with confetti, cake, and burst balloons. However, the biggest unsolved question still hung over everything, and the echoes of that night were more intense than before. What is Tamar's baby's gender? Fans pleaded for clarification. Blogs were constantly speculating, but Tamar would not confirm. With the caption, "When the time is right, the truth will shine." She instead shared a mysterious Instagram picture of her manicured hand holding a half-burned candle. Naturally, the internet went crazy. Was that a hint? A metaphor? Or just tomorrow being tomorrow? Ultimately, this gender reveal turned out to be the messiest plot twist reality TV had ever filmed. But the internet made it legendary. A fun and balloon-filled evening devolved into betrayal, strained friendships, live broadcast battles, and leaks. Clips, and a man confessing that he was unable to balance his family obligations. This isn't the end, to be honest. This is only the start. Because the birth of the kid will be the decade season finale if Tamar is indeed carrying Mendy's child. And congratulations if she doesn't. We all just saw the priciest publicity stunt ever. In any case, tomorrow? She kept her name in the headlines, kept us speculating, and kept us discussing. This is the actual tea, then. Cakes are eaten, balloons deflate, and confetti is swept away. But scandal never goes away. And the largest one yet was just thrown by Tamar Braxton. There you have it. What should have been a happy celebration descended into one of the year's most shocking scandals. Instead of revealing a gender, this gender reveal party exposed secrets, betrayed people, and created a complicated triangle, or perhaps we should say square, that the entire world is obsessed with. But let's take a moment to think. Have you seen everything? Tamar is standing tall, defiant, and glittering. As if she owned the mansion, Yandy bursts through the doors. Mendy sees dumping a mysterious message regarding families. While Rashid is the first to storm in heels, transforming the celebration into a trial that essentially verified all of the whispered rumors we've ever heard. The question now is, what's next for this circus? Will Tamar reveal the baby's gender at last? Or is she trying to build tension before the delivery room? Tomorrow, will Yandy go all legal and slam lawsuits the way she intended to? Is Rashida going to create that book that tells everything, pulling everyone along with it? Above all, will Mendy continue to be the most booked man in the history of reality TV? This is more than simply a scandal, so I'll let you make the decision. It's a story. Furthermore, sagas don't conclude with confetti on the ground. They develop. They contort. They become fresh news stories, new feuds, and yes, new content. It's your time now. What are your thoughts? Was Tamar's announcement of her gender premeditated? Was Tamar the first to cross the line? Or did Yandy and Rashida go too far? And in regard to the baby crisis, whom do you trust? Leave a comment below with your opinions. I promise you that this story is just getting started. So hit the like button and remember to subscribe for more of the ugly truth you won't find anywhere else.